Friends, in this 2020, we cannot have a better captain than Dr. Sandhya Makhija, who is going to board us to the airlines, to the OT airlines of our battlefield. What is this COVID operation theater? What are the COVID era theater practices? I think none other than Dr. Sandhya Makhija can teach us, can talk to us, and give her experience about it. She's a young and dynamic personality, and from all I know about her, she was one of the first ones to start the ophthalmology surgical practice in this lockdown, especially for her emergency OT services. She's a consultant retina and cataract specialist at Sant Parmanand Hospital and at Shyamlal Eye Hospital, which is her own hospital in Delhi. And she's a dynamic personality who's going to talk to us about the OT practices in the current COVID-19 time.
So now, seeing the current scenario, let's see the current scenario now. That how COVID-19 has changed our lives. We all know. We all have been bound and we have been surrounded by the COVID. It's changed our practice totally. We're still battling the virus, and definitely it is going to stay for long, and it is going to change a lot of things in the coming times. Coming to the ophthalmic practice, we're all gearing up from starting with minimal OPDs and then emergency consultations only, and now we're all gearing up for surgeries bit by bit and step by step. So ultimately, we have to go ahead. So let's see how we will be doing in current COVID times, how we are changing our OT practices. That's what I'll talk about. Seeing all these kinds of pictures in various social media, sharing WhatsApp, Facebooks here and there. Someone wearing these kind of stupid, funny gears and funny uh, wrap ups and all those things. See, what I need to tell you is no need to get panicked. Don't get panicked by all these things. We just have to stay calm, patient, and start our OT practices slowly and slowly. Our main concerns has to be our staff, our doctors, we us surgeons, anesthetists. On the basis of this, we have to see what best we can do in the field of anesthesia, surgery, and post-op. So I'm mainly divided my talk into these three things, and my references are basically from AIOS guidelines, various inputs from my friends and colleagues. So let us see what we need to do pre-operative. As per doctors are concerned, we have to restrict number of cases in our theaters. We have to triage the cases. We have to do the surgeries as daycare surgeries. Just quickly take in the patient and let the patient go. No need to keep them admitted for long. Biometry, when we are doing a non-contact type, is a must. And we have to make a personalized kind of dilating and anesthetist drops. Earlier we used to keep one dilating or maybe one anesthetic drops and we used to use them for all the cases. Maybe now this is not going to work. The counselors in our pre-operative area has to wear a personal protection, follow social distancing. The room has to be well ventilated. Take one patient at a time, and just tell the patient to have minimal attendance. Like our patients are in the habit of getting all the attendance. We'll get this, that, parents, sisters, all those things. So we have to restrict the number of attendance and try and do all preliminary tests on a single day, maybe if possible. Just call the patient on one single day, do all prelim tests in a day, and just take the patient and let the patient go away after the surgery. Um, a special COVID consent form is available there on AIO's website. One can go through that, which is very important. Take minimal number of patients, one patient at a time. There should be a 20-minute timeout period between each patient. Okay, next point. What important I feel is that one should avoid surgery in all off hours. When you have incomplete staff and your team outside too, so that because you should be just working in a quick manner. The patient coming in, going out in a quick manner. So suppose you do surgery, say in off hours, late afternoon or something, when you don't have complete staff, maybe you won't be able to do perform that quickly. So even that is important. You should plan doing surgery of by a senior faculty member, not a fellow or a resident, because basically you have to aim for a quick surgery and safe surgery because you don't want the patient to be coming in again and again in the operation theater. So choose the quickest possible surgical procedure in your hands, whatever is quickest in your hands. Like people, they ask for whether we should go in for an SICA or a phaco. So this is again is a very variable question. So I would say simply whatever is quickest in your hands. Avoid general anesthesia as far as possible. Prefer topical over any other kind of local anesthesia. All universal precautions has to be taken. PPE, full body suits. When the patient is outside, especially when a patient is a known positive case. So you should have even an HIV kit ready in your theater. You might have to use it anytime. Procedures like diathermy, intubation or extubation, ambivag, etc., they have to be avoided as far as possible. Follow prescribed protocols, like I just told you, and it's available in AIOS guideline as an AIOS guidelines on the website also. When we talk of OT staff, we also have to be careful about them. Regular monitoring of their health is also important. Restrict OT staff as far as possible within the theater. Keep minimal staff inside, maybe just one runner and one helper or an assistant. I think that is you have to do with just the minimal staff. Personal protection for them also, as you're giving them for doctors, so for staff also you have to give utmost priority. Wear disposable sterile gowns. Various kinds of N95 masks are available, triple layer. So I was just telling you about the mask in just coming a few slides. Wear gloves, shoe covers. That is also important. Wear shoe covers in your theater. Protective goggles are again a question mark because our surgeries are we are going operating through microscope. Maybe it's not very feasible and not very practical to wear these goggles. But when you're walking outside, maybe for your runner and your assistant staff, you can always give them a protective goggles. Do a minimal talk with patient as well as attendance, social distancing, prefer topical anesthesia. For GA, all PPE kit for anesthetist, staff, and even ophthalmologist, when the patient is getting intubated or extubated, so that is important. And the most important, surgical team has to degown only after patient is shifted to the recovery room. So these are the kinds of PPE that's available in our markets. Important thing I would say, don't use OPD PPEs for operation theater. So you should have a separate PPE, a separate mask, and all those things separate. I mean, sometimes you're just coming from the OPD, so you don't think that you're going to wear the same PPE. There should be a separate PPE, separate mask, and everything. N95 mask, various kinds of N95 masks are available in the market. You can use any of them. I think one of the most comfortable that people feel is half face respirator, which has a membrane filter. It is very easy to clean. You just do a surface cleaning and that's it. You can just change the internal filters every month. It's pretty comfortable and it can be taped and there's no issue of fogging. Stop positive ventilation in the theater during procedure and for at least 20 minutes after the patient has left the theater. Non-COVID OT can have a standalone or a split AC. AC filter should be cleaned regularly, but if there is a separate COVID OTs, then you have to stop positive pressure ventilation and AHUs and all may be required. Again, aiming for quick surgery, one patient at a time, 20 minutes time out, individualized instruments and surgical leave for every patient. Sometimes, especially in our eye surgeries, we are in a habit of using the same cannulas, the same tips, or maybe the same viscose, so we have to change that habit now from now on. Avoid repeated opening and closing of OT doors because it creates turbulence. Air handling units can be functional in between the cases. And it's best if one can go for a temperature and humidity controls and all these things. And similar protocols should always be followed for the recovery room also, like the patient waiting area, OT reception, lifts, washroom. They're all high-risk areas, so one should be cautious in those areas also from now on. Because earlier these areas we never used to even bother about these areas. Other things like electronic equipments within our OTs, theaters, things like computer monitors, keyboard, speakers, and there's certain other things. So it's essential that we clean them with alcohol swabs, in between also, maybe after every OT. But whatever said and done, try to keep minimal things within the operation theater, minimal personal inside, avoid extra residents, trainees, fellows. In fact, I have told my residents and fellows actually to remain outside the OT. They can just monitor from outside. They can fill files and see the post-ops. It's better if there are minimal people inside the OT. Per-operatively, the patient wears a good mask, 3-ply or N95 preferably, but the good thing is to get it taped. Even the patient tapes the mask on the nose and as well as the surgeon. Disposable adhesive eye drapes should be used, which is to be firmly stuck with pockets and avoid cloth drapes. So the idea is to compartmentalize the patient nasopharyngeal area so that there is no aerosol transmission, from the patient to and fro. Care should be taken while removing drain. The drained water should not spill outside. You just slowly remove the drain and just put it in the bin or your disposable, wherever you want to dispose them, or you just hand it over to the assistants who dispose them in a proper way. PACO or SICS, there's a lot of question about it, but I've just discussed this with you. Whatever is safest and whatever is quickest in that surgeon's hand. So these kind of attires, you can wear. Like the first picture I showed you, like this kind of picture. The first picture, if you're wearing these shields, while intubation or extubation in a GA patient can be done. For a short surgery, these kind of masks, simple masks, or this kind of mask, which is taped on the surgeon's nose, and disposable gowns and disposable drapes. You can see here. If one is going for a long beard surgery, these kind of headgear can be put on, which is a kind of a protective thing for a long surgeries. If one is doing just a short extraocular or plastic surgery with loops, even these kind of headgear can also be used. After every case, protocol-based disinfection of the theatre should be done after each surgical procedure. Like you scrub after every surgery, even if you don't have a next case or not. Because many times till now, we eye surgeons were in the habit of just doing one after the other. We do 3, 4, 5, or maybe 10 cases without scrubbing in between. And that has to change from now on. Change bed sheets, linen after every case. Surface disinfection of OT table, equipment, trolleys has to be done in between two procedure with maybe isopropyl alcohol or sodium hypochlorite 1%, whatever you feel or whatever is available with you. Clean floor with 1% sodium hypochlorite or antacid, whatever is available with you. Disinfect high touch areas like beds, stretcher, trolleys, wheelchair. Avoid repeated opening and closing of OT doors. AHUs should be functional in between the cases, temperature and humidity control. So basically, these are the factors that you can do in between cases. And end of the day, clean the floor, instruments, disinfect them properly. Surface mopping has to be done. Walls and AC vents has to be cleaned maybe every day from now on. Fumigate with 2% Bacillocid and ensure proper management of BMB biomedical waste as per the rules and guidelines. There's been talk about UV pods, recently. So these kind of your own handmade or homemade, or whatever you can say, UV pods. You can just put them in between every OT. Like you just put it on at the night when no one is there in the OT for a few minutes, maybe 11 minutes is the minimal time they say, but depending on the OT area, you can put it on for maybe an hour or a couple of hours. uh, there's a small this thing, this kind of box people have made. It's like a jugaadu thing. People use it to put cash. If the patient is giving cash, so they just put it inside for some time. This kind of UV box. This is just simple cardboard box, and one of my friend, he just took a Osidex box and put this UV tube, small UV tube. It's available on Amazon. So they just try to make these kind of jugaadu things themselves. Healthcare workers coming in contact to the patient, they must take a soap bath once they reach home. So this is the important thing, which is advisable from now on. HCQS profile access can be given to your staff as advised by ICMR. For patients post-op care, I'll say that we should minimize their OPD visits. We should form a protocol for every patient. Now no need to call the patient again and again so frequently. Like till now, we used to call them, one day and maybe after every 2 days, 3 days. You see them the next day post-operatively, and then you call them maybe after a week or even 2 weeks. Everything is all right. You can have a teleconsultation in between or a video call in between or whatever. So no need to call them very frequently and tell them that minimal attendance they should come with them. Like patients are in the habit of getting 2, 3, or 4 attendance, so that practice has to be changed from now on. So follow-up appointment has to be given accordingly, minimize paper or discharge summaries, etc. Try and use more of telemedicine and give the medicines on the very first day itself for the whole period, it can be given, and proper instructions to both patients and attendants. About pre-operative COVID test, it's actually not really advised as per government and ICMR guidelines. So we must consider all patients as COVID positive and take precautions accordingly. We should follow all precautions. It is for us and our family safety, for the sake of safety of our staff and their own families. So it's not difficult, and if you follow all these things accordingly, I think we are the heroes. So uh, that's all I want to say. I will definitely like to have discussions and questions, and if anyone has anything to ask.